Hey, everybody, welcome back to A Better Perspective. So glad that you're here. My name is Donnie, and I'll be your host this evening. And I'm really excited about a very special friend and guest that I have, Jordan Cunningham. Jordan lives in Mansfield, Texas. He is one of my best friends. We talk on the regular. And Jordan is that person who, and he's got a great story with this, that can walk into any store and he walks out with a job, whether he was looking for it or not. He's he's an incredible motivator in my life, and he is the area director for a nonprofit organization, a nationwide group called YoungLife, and so we're going to be talking about that. Yeah, I'm going to introduce you to Jordan, his passion for motivating people, because there's been times I've been discouraged, and my thought is call Jordan, and so hopefully tonight you'll be motivated. And you'll learn a little bit about Young Life, what it's doing to just make teens' lives better. Jordan has actually worked with teenagers for 12 years. He's been married for 12 years. He's been a dad for 10 years. And so I'm pumped up to have him here tonight. Jordan, thank you so much for coming on A Better Perspective, man. I appreciate it.
Bro, what an honor, man. I've been following this thing since day one, bro, and I'm just honored to be on this thing.
Now, to all
Excellent.
of my New York friends, yes, I know that he has that big star on his head,
Oh, I thought we were referring
but
to look at that in the background though.
oh yeah,
I
just
balanced it out.
he's balancing it out. That's right. That's right.
So
He
good.
is
But look at it, bro. It's a good looking star, DK.
and you just lost all New York viewership right there. At least the Giants fans.
Come on, come back. Come back.
Times Square. We're
That's
hoping Times
great.
Square comes back too. Um,
That's the truth.
but man, thank you so much again. I really do appreciate it. Now, I mentioned that you're a massive motivator, and I wasn't lying whenever I said that there were times where I felt discouraged whether I could succeed in New York as a pastor, as a young pastor, and all this kind of stuff. And so I'd pick up the phone and I'd call you, and whenever I was done, I believed in myself because you have a way of just making people believe in themselves. So thank you for that. And so what's kind of your background with just making people believe in themselves?
Yeah. Well, thanks for saying that. I mean, I don't know that there's ever in my mind, or at least there wasn't until the last couple of years, where I thought to myself, you know what? You're really good at encouraging people and inspiring people and helping people believe in themselves. I don't know if I ever really thought of myself as that type of a person, and truthfully, I still don't know if I even think of myself as that type of person. I just know that deep within myself, there is a love for seeing somebody, like, their heart and mind shift in a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, in
Absolutely.
general, whenever somebody goes, we know as believers and Christians, and when we see somebody go from death to life,
Yeah,
it's something special about that. And I
absolutely.
think the same goes for when somebody's down and they're like, man, I'm just going through a tough time. I want to be that guy that says, hey, listen, man, you're doing a lot better than you think you are. And there's a lot of people that believe in you. There's a lot of people that love you. There's a lot of people that care about you. And there's a lot of people that are depending on you. And so right now is the time to shine, and you can do it. And I guess just something about those words and seeing somebody say, you know what? I can do this. And you know what?
Yeah.
I am made for this. And you know what? I am right where I need to be. And those, seeing their heart and their mind shift, is just it's pretty special. And so my dad invested a lot in me as a kid. And you mentioned I have an interesting story. My dad was 15 when my mom had me. And so just being young and like that, I fully, looking back now, expected him to sort of go and do his own thing and me just kind of be left to the side. But he didn't. As far back as I can remember, I saw him every other weekend until I was 12. Then I went and moved and lived with him. But every other weekend, we would meet. My mom and we would meet in a town called Bonham, Texas, and we would meet. And it was
Bottom or
pretty Bonham,
Bonham?
Bonham,
Okay.
Bonham, Bonham.
Bonham, Bonham, Texas.
But we would meet there, and it was about a 45-minute drive for my dad back to his house. And every time we went, we were either listening to classic rock
All
or
right.
some type of a Zig Ziglar, John Maxwell, some type of a motivation. And more times than not, it was the latter because he just loved that. And
Yeah.
something about Zig and that encouraging positive thinking and
Yeah.
just the power of that was just something that I guess kind of
Yeah.
got in
It
my
just kind of
spirit.
got in your spirit, got in your heart, and
Ain't left yet, so I'm just gonna
been
hang
living
on
it out
to
ever since.
it.
So
For sure.
you mentioned your dad. You are a dad of three
Yeah.
kids, dad for 10 years. And you showed me something right before the interview that was really cool about your kids. So
Yeah.
his kids are like the 3x3. He's got three kids, and they all have three initials.
Yeah.
And but
Well,
there's something cool.
most people have three initials. They all have
Yeah,
three letter.
three letters in their name. Excuse me. There we go. There we go.
Yeah,
um,
but they're three letters. Yeah, Kai, Ava, and Ian. And Kai is spelled Kai, which is also the initials of all three of our kids. So Kai, Ava, Ian. And the way it works, it's kind of hard to explain, but if you see it on paper,
do you
it's really
do
cool.
you still have that whiteboard up
Oh, I don't know. Hang on. We can make this happen right now.
right now? Like,
Let's
this
do
is
it.
really cool. I asked him if
Okay.
this
Oh,
was
there it is.
intentional.
There it is.
There we go.
It's still there from when we were doing it earlier. So you can
Uh,
see there that it's Kai. Oh, here I hear it with my Kai, Ava, Ian. If you read it across that way, but then if you read it down, it's
yeah.
also Kai,
It's like
Ava, Ian.
Kai, Ava, Ian. Kai, Ava, Ian.
And the craziest part is that we did not plan this. It wasn't until, and in fact, that's actually the reverse order of our kids. Kai is the youngest, Ava is the middle, and Ian is the
It's the
oldest.
oldest.
But it wasn't until we had Kai that we recognized that Kai's initials are all three of their names. And so, yeah, it's so
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
That
That's
is
pretty
really cool. I mean, it's just something weird that serves not really a purpose. I mean, unless a guy's into getting tattoos, which I am not.
cool.
But if somebody was, then it'd be a great tattoo.
Now, so you are obviously head over heels about your kids. You spend a
Big
lot of
time.
time with your kids. You do a lot of stuff. Um, is there like a, a moment that you enjoy or stands out in your mind or something that's special? What's your favorite moment about being dad, or your favorite thing about being a dad? If it's not a moment, like a thing, or
Yeah. Well, let me also say that I'm head over heels about my wife too.
oh,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
she's a pretty big deal. And in fact, had it not been for her, those three kids wouldn't even exist. So
now,
real head over heels about that one.
now,
But
for anybody who's wondering, we married the Ashleys.
we
His
did. We
wife is
both have an
Ashley. My
Ashley.
wife is Ashley, and they were roommates in college.
That's
So
right. I picked the redhead, and you
I got
you picked the non-redhead. So.
the nine ed. Yes, we have, and I think that they may actually talk more than we do.
Oh, and we talk often,
We talk
bro.
a lot.
And they got us beat. That's for sure. Well, let
They
me
got the
tell
mark on the
you,
floor going.
dude, we tried to get into that thing.
We
I just
did.
couldn't. I
We
couldn't
did.
make it. Couldn't make it work as
We
well.
actually, I know this is so 20th century. We still like to pick up the phone and talk.
Yeah. Who does that?
Who does that
Who does
anymore?
that?
Seriously. But yeah, so yeah, we married the Ashleys, and both of us have three kids. And he was favorite thing about being a dad.
Yeah. So it's really hard for me to say. There's this one like moment, or about being a dad. Uh, there's just a collection
Mm,
of moments that I'm like, you know what, like this is what I love about being a dad is that you get the opportunity to create memories and create moments together that last. I mean, dude, I can think back on even just my childhood of riding dirt bikes and four wheelers and doing fun things with my dad. And so I just want to be that guy. I want to be that fun dad, Donnie. You know what I mean? I just want to be the fun
I
dad.
want to be a fun
Okay,
dad. Yeah.
that's all I ask. And so I try to create memories and
Yeah.
moments that they're gonna look back on and say, dude, we had a good childhood and we had a lot of fun with our dad and our mom. And man, we Oh, it's so funny during this quarantine and this kind of thing, this weird time that we're in, has been strangely like a blessing for our family,
Mhm.
and it's just been good because we've been able to just like spend time together, and time where typically my evenings as a in youth ministry, my evenings are what occupies a
Sure,
lot of my
sure.
time. And so they're at school during the day, and then we
Yeah,
get a little bit of time right there after school and right before the evening starts, and then I'm gone at a Young Life event, or I'm at a baseball game or a basketball game or a football game or a band concert or
yeah.
Bible study. Anyway, you just stuff all
Sure.
the time. So,
Always.
and it's always evenings. And so this deal has been like, hey, take some time with your family. And, it's just
Yeah,
been really cool. And so Kai's gotten to learn how to ride a bike during this time. And we actually went out this evening and rode bikes together on the trail as a whole family, which is
that's
actually
awesome.
our first time since he started learning how, that we all got
Yeah.
to ride together. And we made this list of board games. We
Okay.
realized that we have about 60 board games, bro.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
insane. I don't even know how we got this many board games. But the funniest part is that we play the same four over and over. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah. Sure, sure.
you got all these board games and then you just play the same ones.
Yeah.
But we decided, let's go on Google, and we got a
Yep.
spreadsheet on Google, and we typed out, and
Dude, you and your
all
spreadsheets.
dude, I love them. I love them. I don't know. I will make a spreadsheet for no reason at all.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's the worst. But I made a spreadsheet of all the games that we have, and I shuffled them. So I just
Okay.
put them in random order, and then we have just gone down the list playing a different board game of each one. And the funnest part about it is for me, because I'm super competitive.
Sure.
Out beside it, it says who won. So I'm
It's
currently on a 6-game win streak right now. I'm just saying. The last
like
one being Yahtzee, and the one before that was Connect Four. So
nice. It's
I'm
like
just saying,
Kai,
if there's
you're
any
never gonna
takers out
win.
there.
Just let you know. You're never gonna win in this family,
Yeah.
Kai.
So while I'm the fun dad, I'm also the dad that never lets the kids win anything. So
That's
it's
awesome. That's
balanced
awesome. It's like get better. Get better,
out. Yeah.
son.
And
Get
hey, I
better.
can't help it, bro. No handouts in this house. Is all I'm saying.
You are gonna regret that one day.
Oh, I know
They
they're gonna
coming.
pound me.
They are
Yeah.
coming.
When they get some size, bro, I'm gonna get dunked on. It's over.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now all right. So you mentioned your evenings. Right now, you've kind of been family quarantine type thing, but you
Yeah.
mentioned that pre-quarantine and pre-coronavirus, your evenings were packed with ball games, baseball games, and concerts and all that kind of stuff because you are a very very hands-on youth leader with Young Life.
Mm.
You take it very. I mean, back before Young Life, whenever you were a student pastor, same exact way. The last 12 years of your life has been teenagers. Um,
Really has.
and
Yeah.
why do you and longevity in youth ministry is not necessarily something you see a lot of. Why do you enjoy it so much? Um, what's kind of been your motivation there?
Oh man, so many things, dude. They're just so fun. Like, I mean, they really are just a lot of fun, and it's interesting to me because when I cycle through like freshman to senior, I think to myself, man, like most people are like, phew, I'm glad that's over with. Like, it's time to go move on. And I'm like, dude, I can't wait for the next group. And
Yeah,
I guess there's just something in me, and I guess I could say the cliche statements that it keeps me young and all those things. But the truth is, man, I truly enjoy that age group, and I enjoy watching those kids um, develop from these goofy, awkward freshmen
yeah,
who don't care, about anything, or actually most of the time care about everything because they're super hypersensitive that
sure,
everybody's
sure, sure.
watching them and all that. But then they develop into these, slightly mature people. And my hope, as a young life leader, is that they'll be maturing in their faith, and that
Yeah,
they'll go from freshmen who don't know anything and they're hungry to a kid that now knows Jesus, and now they're following the Lord, and they're trying to develop in their faith. And my
Yeah.
hope is that I can be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I want to be a part of as many stories like that as I can. And so I see it as, I mean, there's 10,000, dude, 10,000 high school kids in my city alone.
Wow. Wow.
And it's just,
That's
and
great.
we just,
Yeah.
there's a lot. It's, you know what the Bible says, that the harvest is plentiful,
Yeah.
but the labors are few. And so
Yeah.
I guess I can't see a reason that I would stop
Mm,
doing what I'm doing when there's 10,000 kids out there that need to hear the
that's
message of the
beautiful.
cross. And so I don't know. It's not even about like, hey, shouldn't you be moving up the ranks, or shouldn't you be moving up the, to me,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, there's a ton of
Yeah.
kids, and
There's a
I
need
love
right
doing
here.
what I mean, I don't know why I would do anything else.
Yeah.
And
You are
so,
so good. Like you mentioned one of them, but I'm going to bring a second area into this. Um, you've always been passionate about number one, leading students to Jesus, and then at number two, seeing students grow into leaders, because
mhm,
you take those seniors and you turn them into leaders for Young Life
as quick as I can.
as quick as you
Like,
can.
hey, if you know Jesus, can you help me tell some other people about it?
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's true, because I think there
Why do
is,
you see like the importance of, and I didn't mean to cut you off, I'm sorry. Why do
no,
you see
you're
the
right.
importance of giving them leadership responsibility as a senior, and how do you see them grow whenever they have to take that responsibility on?
Yeah. Well, I think it's, well, partly, and this may be a selfish way to say this, but I mean, Darren Hardy's book, The Compound Effect, I mean, he has some powerful analogies about how, he talks a lot about money growth and a bunch of things in The Compound Effect. But the truth of it is, there's power in numbers. And the scriptures tell us that if one can put 1,000 to flight, then two can put
Mm,
the same amount
yeah.
that I have high school kids, 10,000.
10,000. Yeah.
One can put 1,000, two can put 10,000. And so there's something about when you get numbers, there's some kind of compound thing that happens there. And so my hope is that if you know it, if you know the Lord, then
Yeah.
your goal is to tell as many people. I mean, scripture tells us to go to the highways and the byways and tell folks about him. And so I
Yeah.
guess I just understand that the, the it's, now that I know Jesus, now I want to be discipled, and then I want to be a disciple. And what is, we learned growing up and going to Bible school together that a kind of key way to live your life is that you ought to have somebody that you're teaching, somebody that you're doing life with, and then somebody that's mentoring you. So you got to
Hmm.
have kind of one here, one alongside, and then one that
Yeah.
you're looking to. And
Yeah.
I'm telling my high school kids and my seniors, I'm telling them, listen, regardless, somebody's watching you.
Yeah.
And so you might as well give them a great example to watch. And so why not give them something worth watching?
Mm,
And so I tell them, man, live your best life for the kingdom and tell as many people as you can about Jesus. And so
that's
I don't know.
awesome.
So far it's working. So
That's awesome. I
I'm
love
gonna
that. All
keep
right.
doing it.
So for the last 5 years, you have been an aerial director for Young Life, which is a nationwide ministry. Tell me about
Worldwide, bro.
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
I'm sorry,
100
worldwide.
countries.
Wow.
100 countries.
And they are also on nearly every military base in the United States.
Yeah, it's
Like
amazing.
y'all are everywhere. Y'all
Really
are
are.
one. Did you say 100 nations?
100 countries, bro.
100 countries? Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
100 countries.
So in
Yeah.
other words, what he's saying is wherever you're watching this from, if you got teenagers, there's probably
Tune
a
in.
Young Life. There's a Young
Yeah,
Life somewhere around you. And I'm sure if you
absolutely.
put in Young Life and then your town, something's going to pop up.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So tell me
Yeah.
about Young Life. What do y'all do?
Well, our whole entire goal is to introduce adolescents to Jesus Christ and help them grow in their faith. I mean, that's truly, I mean, that's our slogan,
Mhm.
and it is the essence of who we are. I mean, I think, get a bad rap that we just have a bunch of Monday night parties, and people that have had bad experiences with Young Life will call it a cult, and they'll find every way to make
Yeah,
it
sure,
sound
sure.
bad. But the truth is, man, we're just trying to introduce kids to Jesus,
Mm.
and we take kids that don't enjoy going to church, which I would argue is most teenage kids. They just don't enjoy it, and so we create a fun way that they can hear the gospel, and it's through games and fun songs and crazy activities. And we do some of the dumbest stuff like worm spitting and some of the dumbest things. I mean, we do some dumb things. That's the truth.
Oh,
But listen, dude,
great.
we'll spare no expense to make
Yeah,
sure that a kid can hear the gospel. And so, I
yeah,
mean, truthfully, it's just what we do, man. And that, I mean, that really is, I mean, that's just what it's all about. And so at the end of the day, one of the ways I like to tell people is that we go on their turf,
mm,
we meet them where they are. And so, because we believe, and this is another motivational thing, but we believe that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so, if that's the truth, then we've got to get on their turf, and we've got to ask them about their life and their story and their family and their extracurricular activities. And what is it? What makes you tick? I want to know you. I want to hang out with you. And so that's what we do. We go and we meet them,
yeah,
and we go to their football games, and we hang out with them in
yeah,
their world and their element. And
yeah,
then when the time's right, we say, "Hey, I want to talk to you about this guy that changed my life."
yeah,
And it's a real thing.
yeah,
And we tell them our story and tell them how the Lord can do it for them. And they say, and this is not the actual words they say, but in their spirit they're saying, well, they were here months ago, and they cared about me. And so there's no agenda. There's no there's no wrong agenda anyway, because they were here a long time ago, and they care about me. And so if they care that much about me, they wouldn't tell me a lie. And so, I mean, the truth is we're just gaining their trust and earning the right. This is the actual
yeah.
verbiage we use, is earning the right to be heard,
Mm, I
because
love that.
we want to earn the right to be heard. And so
That sounds so much like Jesus.
that's right.
Think about
Yeah.
it, a God that God steps off of his throne, robes
Mm.
himself in flesh to be with people, and
Yep.
he starts hanging out with, what was he called, a friend of sinners, and he
Yeah.
hung out with tax collectors, which, like, there's sinners and then there's tax collectors.
No joke. Yeah,
and and he got on their turf,
that's
and
right.
he went. I love that you said we go to them. We create
That's right.
environments and we go to them. So much
Hmm.
of church culture can become, if we're not careful, hey, come to us.
Oh man,
And and he said, actually, go into all the world.
that's right.
And I love that. I
Yeah,
absolutely love that. Relationships, right?
that's right. We're
Is building
totally
those.
well, and we are a relational ministry. I mean, we really are, because we could stop having. I mean, our events happen on Monday nights, but if we stopped having Monday night club, is what we call it, it wouldn't change our ministry,
Mm,
because we still have leaders that have relationships with kids,
yeah,
and it's a real relationship. It's not based on an event. And so
yeah,
we're not an event based ministry. We're
yeah,
truly a relational ministry where leaders who care about kids are going out and sharing the gospel with kids. And so it's
yeah.
fun, man. It
Because
really is a lot of fun.
I know, like, even through coronavirus, there's been a couple times where you said, yeah, I'm hanging out with this group tonight or these kids or whatever, even though
Yeah.
y'all weren't having y'all's club. Yeah, you
Yep.
weren't having Monday night, but yet there was still that relationship there.
Still doing we're still studying
Yeah,
the Bible together. We're
yeah,
still
still doing your
playing
Bible
spike ball
studies.
together. We're
Yeah,
doing whatever we can to be in relationship with
yeah.
high school kids.
Now, obviously,
So
it's a ministry, and you
uh-huh.
hang out with kids, and you do a lot of stuff, and you have club and all that kind of stuff. So, you fundraise like every other ministry in the world. You have to fundraise, and y'all have a pretty big one coming up Monday,
Yeah.
right? Now you had to
Today,
tweak it
if you're watching
today if
this,
you're
if you're
watching.
watching this
Yes,
right now, it's today.
it's today. It's already happened.
That's right.
whenever you're
I'm
watching this.
exhausted right now.
For anybody, this is pre-recorded, by the way. This is pre-recorded. But yeah, tell us about what is happening on Monday, but really just happened.
Yeah. So we just got through. Well, let me tell you, let me set it up this way. We typically have two major fundraisers every year. One is a banquet that we do in the fall, and the other is a golf tournament that we do in the spring. And they're both kind of our big operating budget fundraisers. And so uh, typically we get a lot of golfers to come out to our big golf tournament. It's a ton of fun. I'm a big golfer. Donnie, I know you play golf, and so it's a lot of fun for me because I just enjoy that. Well, as you can imagine, due to all of the things going on, we can get that opportunity to do that. And so they said, no, you can't bring 150 people out and have a golf tournament in the middle
Yeah.
of the pandemic. So we did have to get creative, and it's kind of a fun thing. I called. I had this crazy idea. I said, what if I got a few of my buddies and we went and played 100 holes of golf, did this massive crazy marathon, and just played a ton of golf. And we said, let's just call up some of our business partners and friends and people like that and just say, would you sponsor me $1 per hole that I play? I'm going to try to play 100 holes. Would you sponsor me at $1? And so I called a few of my buddies and I said, hey, here's the goal. Let's try to get 10 people to sponsor us at $1 a hole. So raise $1,000 and let's see if we can make it happen. So I called up a few buddies. Well, I called like 3 guys, and all 3 of them immediately were like, absolutely, I'm in, like 100%, let's do it. And so then I was like, I don't want to just do a foursome. I might as well call up a few more
Yeah.
guys. So I called up a couple other guys, and they were Johnny on the spot, man. They were just like, yes. I'm like, dude, so this is crazy. So, and I'm like, I called one of my buddies, and he said, yes, me and my buddy, come get the check tomorrow. He's just gonna sponsor it, $2,000, which I don't know if he knew what I meant. So I called him the next morning and I'm like, you do realize I'm asking you to raise $1,000. And so if you're paying for you and your buddy, you're paying $2,000. He said, yeah, check's on the table. Come get it. I'm like,
Wow.
okay. So it's crazy. So anyway, I ended up with 10 guys, and I mean, that's truly all I called. I probably should have just kept calling. Ended up with, but I didn't want to mess anything up with the golf course, anything. So I just capped it at 10. But man, yeah. So tomorrow, Monday, today, we just got through. But we play 100 holes of golf. We're starting at 6:30 in the morning and playing until
you're done.
Till we get done. And so it's going to be a blast. We actually got some cool prizes that we're giving away, and
awesome.
Some fun stuff. So it's going to be a blast, man.
That's cool.
mean, can't come. It's going to be a ton of golf, but who's complaining?
Yeah. Well, the cause is worth it.
Yeah, man. I think
whenever you think
people are getting behind, the idea that everybody understands that kids need somebody speaking into their life. And you said some really nice things about me being a positive person and a motivator. And I think anybody that has a kid would say, I need my kid to have some positive examples in their life. And so if you just take Jesus out of the equation, which we would never do, anybody would want positive thinkers in their kids' lives. And so we say, we're not only going to give you positive thinkers, but there's a guy named Jesus that can give you way more than that. And we want to give you that. And I think for folks like these 10 guys that are going to help us out on Monday are just folks that understand and they get it. Yeah. They get it. And
that's awesome.
I'm grateful. Awesome. I'm really grateful for that.
Jordan, thank you so much for tuning in or coming and doing this and allowing me to interview you. You are one of my favorite of all time people. And I'm so glad that you're in my life, and I'm glad that your wife is in my wife's life, because I'll tell you that first year that we were in New York. To say that it didn't get lonely would be the understatement of the year. And I promise you that the 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 Ashleys, Amanda, um, um, Marco Polo group,
Oh, it's
it
big time.
that saved us,
Yeah.
and is huge. And
Dude,
so I just
imagine that as a podcast. Imagine their conversations as a boy, that would
uh,
be.
that would be a podcast. But Jordan, I'm going to give you the last word. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to say, the floor is yours.
Oh gosh, man. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. Let's go into positivity mode, right? Dale Carnegie stuff right
Oh, here
here.
we go.
No, really, man. I think we said a lot of fun things here, and I think the truth is, I mean, at the end of the day, that the things that I've been instilling in my family and things I've been instilling in young people lately is that during this time, we have got to look back into scripture and remember that above all else, we got to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And we got to love people as ourselves. And I just think it's important right now, man, that we love God in a real deep way. And because, man, I just think that that's where we're getting sideways. And that's where our world is getting into this weird, man, it just seems like the
Yeah.
world is so weird right now.
Yeah.
And I think if you look back, you gotta realize that people aren't loving God with everything inside of them. And they're certainly not loving their neighbor
Wow.
as their self. And I just think that that's where it's at, man.
You're right.
And so I don't know, man. I feel like I'm getting preachy, but the truth, I just think there's some really there's some power to that.
Yeah.
And so, man, that and just man, I think that's what I'd probably leave it on. And I love you, Donnie, man. I'm thankful for you, thankful for this, what you're doing, and the way you're helping people through this is really so timely. I mean, it's really cool, and you capitalized on a really good time. And I think more people ought to listen. Okay, so let's get it out there, DK. Let's get it out there for people to listen to this thing.
Well, thank you, Jordan. And I got the easy job. I ask a question, sit back, and let everybody else make this whole podcast look great.
That's awesome. Well, you're doing
But
great.
thank you. Well, everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Everybody out there, hope that something helped you go back there. He gave some great tips if you're home quarantined with your kids about find how many board games you got.
Make a spreadsheet.
Make
Come
a
on.
spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet.
Even better. Get a big whiteboard
Hey, watch
and
out.
hang
Yeah,
it out.
I don't have a whiteboard.
You don't have your whiteboard. He has had whiteboards.
I have.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But thank y'all all for tuning in tonight. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hope something said was that helped you just have a better perspective on life. And I'll see you next week for another great guest. And bye-bye.
See ya.